Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we find that Lord Shiva, he foresaw what may happen if Sati does not follow what he says. Whatever Lord Shiva said was not to curtail the freedom of Sati to decide what she wanted to do. Factually, Lord Shiva left it to Sati. It was out of affection for his wife. And that is what Prabhupada is pointing out in today's purport also. And this today's verse, out of affection, the husband gives half of his body to the wife, and the wife gives half of her body to the husband. And what is the meaning of that? The meaning is, husband without wife is incomplete, and wife without the husband is also incomplete. This is the meaning of that. This is as per the Vedic understanding. That is why wife is called Ardha Angini. She is considered to be the half part of the husband. Here, so we can see, because she is like half part of Lord Shiva, it is not something unfair to ask her not to go. Because Prabhupada is saying, there existed a relationship, marital relationship between Shiva and Sati. So in that sense, Sati should have respected this relationship more than the relationship of her father. It is not that there was no relationship. And this relationship wherein husband and wife in Vedic married life, where wife is considered to be the half part of the husband and husband is considered to be the half part of wife, in that scenario, she should have understood the importance of their married life and not given so much understanding about her own desires. So she failed to do that because Prabhupada is saying, because of her womanly nature. Generally, woman has attachment for her parents' house. So, actually she should have been under the protection of the husband, and she should have heard whatever the husband had said, and whatever was said was for her good only. But she did not listen, and she took independent decision to leave her husband and go to her father's house because of attachment. And that is due to her weakness, womanly weakness. Prabhupada is pointing out something very important in the end of this purport. Sometimes there may be misunderstanding between husband and wife, as found even in such an elevated family relationship as that of Sati and Lord Shiva. Sometimes when brahmachari gets married, he may form a utopian kind of situation. Perfectly everything will be all right. Husband will say something and wife will follow. But that is what is the Vedic system, isn't it? But that kind of utopian situation will not come. And then husband will either beat wife or... But that is also not Vedic system. We don't find Lord Shiva started beating Sati that you are not following what I am saying, isn't it? We find that sometimes. Even in Krishna conscious married life, some brahmacharis when they get married and they imagine a perfect Vedic life, husband will be ordering and wife will be following whatever husband is saying, and if she does not follow then there is quarrel, all those kind. So it's not that the husband is also perfect devotee and wife is also not, as per Vedic literature, fully faithful to the husband. All those kinds of limitations and faults exist in both husband and wife. Because specifically this is Kali Yuga. This is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. So, even in family life there will be quarrel. This has to be understood before a brahmachari takes to grahastha life, not thinking that it is going to be an ideal kind of Vedic life. We should understand we are in Kali Yuga. And Prabhupada is saying here very important thing. Sometimes there may be misunderstanding between husband and wife as found even in such an elevated family relationship as that of Sati and Lord Shiva. So even in such an elevated these things we find there may be misunderstanding. But in those misunderstanding, if we don't act intelligently, then everything will be spoiled. This is important. We find Sati, when this misunderstanding arose between Lord Shiva, where he did not want Sati to go, and Sati wanted to go. So there is a conflict of interest. And we understand that Lord Shiva, because he is a great personality, he is not an ordinary husband. He cannot be taken like an ordinary husband. The ordinary husband said something and wife did not follow. Isn't it? No. We cannot compare. An ordinary husband cannot compare himself with Lord Shiva. An ordinary wife cannot compare herself with either Sita or such exalted personalities or Sati or Parvati. We have to understand the reality where we are situated. So, if any one of them acts unintelligently, out of weakness, then everything will become spoiled. Here we find Sati acted unintelligently, not following out of her womanly weakness for affection for her father's house. She did not heed to the advice of Lord Shiva, and we find that in future disaster happened because of that. So, in one of his letters, Prabhupada wrote similar thing to one of his disciples, married disciples, who had some misunderstanding. The husband and wife had some misunderstanding between them. So Prabhupada advised them, such misunderstanding should be completely neglected. Especially in relationship between husband and wife, there are bound to be some kinds of misunderstanding. But such misunderstanding should be completely neglected. And focus should be on serving Krishna. Then everything will become all right. So I'll read that. This is to letter to Nandarani in 1967. You and your husband's service in respect to opening the Los Angeles Center will be recorded in the history of our Krishna consciousness movement. So Prabhupada acknowledged whatever sacrifices these people, these disciples of Srila Prabhupada had made to push on this Krishna consciousness movement by opening different centers across America. Most probably, I shall be in your country by the end of October or early in November. I am thinking of going by Pacific route. So, when I am in your country, I shall either be first in San Francisco or Los Angeles. My mind is always with you. Practically, your country is my home now. India is foreign country for me. The reason is, my spiritual family is there and my material relationships are in India. Therefore, factually, where my spiritual family exists, there is my home. Regarding your personal question in the matter of relationship with your husband, even if there is some misunderstanding between husband and wife, that should be completely neglected. So this is the advice to all grahasthas, that even if there is some misunderstanding between husband and wife, Prabhupada is saying that misunderstanding should be completely neglected. And you should always remain rigid in service of Krishna. And this is important. Simply neglecting misunderstanding will not solve the problem. What will solve the problem, what will make the problem insignificant is when we are fixed very rigidly in service of Krishna. And same principle applies even for brahmacharis. Some misunderstanding may arise even in our Krishna conscious family life. In brahmacharya ashram, that is also kind of a family, isn't it? We are all working together cooperatively. And Prabhupada said he built a house in which the whole world can live. So this is also a family in that sense. Krishna's family, we are part of that. So there is bound to be some or other misunderstanding. And Prabhupada is giving this formula. Neglect those misunderstanding completely. Some misunderstanding may come between two devotees, between two departments when we are working together. Isn't it? This is material world after all. So those should be neglected and rigidly we should be fixed in our service to Krishna. Then it is possible. When our mind is fixed on higher services of Krishna, these things will become negligent for us, insignificant for us. Just like sometimes you will find when a person, even in the material world, let us say, his mind is absorbed in some kind of material happiness, and he's coming, let us say, from some faraway place, back to his family. And when he is coming, he may not sometime get good kind of travel facility, and whole night he could not sleep. But he neglects. Those things become insignificant in the face of that I am going back and uniting with my family. So it is just like in Bhagavad Gita it is said, Param Drishtva Nivartate. When one gets a higher taste, Rasovarjam Rasopiyasya. When one gets a better engagement, a better taste, lower kind of taste will automatically go away. So when our mind becomes fixed in service of Krishna, these kinds of petty problems and petty quarrels and petty misunderstanding, we will be able to give it up. If we don't fix our mind, this will become very big in our mind. Very big. Whole life, instead of thinking to advance in Krishna consciousness, we will be thinking of how to solve this problem. Whole life can practically pass in these kinds of misunderstanding. And we lose track. We lose track that actually it is, what is this material world? This material world is a temporary place. All these problems are also temporary. I had to make the best use of the bad bargain and go back to Godhead. That we forget. And we become entrapped in so many complexities of our misunderstandings. Isn't it? So, in that regard also, Prabhupada used to say that actually such kind of misunderstandings are bound to happen even in the community of devotees. And we should completely forget about such kinds of misunderstanding and keep our focus on serving the mission of our spiritual master. So there is another one letter Prabhupada wrote. So far your fraternal quarrel is concerned, I may recite in this connection one story. So Prabhupada recited one story to make them understand how this quarrel among devotees, misunderstanding among devotees is actually, it is Prabhupada's mission which will suffer. You see? Our quarrel and our misunderstanding, by that, the effect will be Prabhupada's mission of this Krishna consciousness, which he has established with so much pain, that will suffer. So Prabhupada is reciting a story. An old father required massaging, so all children wanted to serve the father. So old father was there and he required, because of his old age, he required massaging. And so all his children wanted to serve him. The father divided the right and left portion of his body to be served by the children. So he said, okay, half of you serve the left portion, and some of you serve the right portion. Later, along with the service, there was some quarrel between the children. They were carrying out their service, but then some quarrel started between the children. And they were competing by hitting the part of the father which was assigned to the opposing party. You see? See, this is such a kind of misunderstanding that in order to take a revenge, I hurt that part which is assigned to you. So this started. They were competing by hitting the parts of the father which was assigned to the opposing party. So the father said, "You are hitting my different parts due to your opposition to one another. But I am therefore dying." Similarly, either this department or that department, if you quarrel among yourself, it will be detrimental to my missionary ambition. So this is Prabhupada making a serious request to all of us that actually we are all serving the different parts of mission of Srila Prabhupada. All these different parts of Srila Prabhupada's body, his missionary body, are assigned to us. So we should be very careful. So either this department or that department, if you quarrel amongst yourself, it will be detrimental to my missionary ambition. Please therefore stop this unnecessary strain. So this is very important for all of us to understand that material world means there is no doubt that there will be misunderstanding, there will be quarrel, all those things will be there. But if we keep our mind focused on the higher mission of Srila Prabhupada, then in that spirit we will be able to cooperate. Even though we may differ with each other. And Prabhupada said, differing with each other is not non-Krishna conscious. It is bound to be there because everybody is a person. And everybody is a different person. Everybody is an individual person. I am not the same as you, you are not same as me. So there is bound to be difference in the opinion. But one thing is, we all want to serve Krishna. That is the common thing which unites. So in that regard, Prabhupada says, because we are all individuals, sometimes there is disagreement between devotees. But then there is very important thing. Very important for devotees to note. What is the difference between when karmis disagree with each other and devotees disagree with each other? What is the difference? So Prabhupada is saying, when non-devotees quarrel, they cannot stop and end up killing each other. But the devotees' disagreement does not last long because they patch it up for Krishna's sake. See? Not that disagreement is not there. Disagreement may be there. But the devotees' disagreement does not continue for long. Not that lifelong. It does not continue for long. And what do? They patch up those disagreements for the sake of Krishna. This is important thing, what we should understand. Because they're all working for the same end, Krishna's service. Then Prabhupada is also, another important instruction Prabhupada is giving to the devotees is that if we disagree with each other, how are we going to unite the whole world in Krishna consciousness? So we should also show with our own example. Not that we should only say that yes, the whole world can be united in Krishna consciousness. Correct? We say all kinds of quarrels, everything will stop if everybody is serving Krishna. So first we have to show with our own example. So Prabhupada is saying, we have got so much vital spiritual knowledge to distribute to the public. and they are in desperate need of it. The whole world is going to hell and everyone is suffering. In light of this, so this should be very clear in our mind. Whole world is suffering, practically going to hell without Krishna consciousness. So much I have to do to preach and give this Krishna conscious message to the people if I want to help them. So Prabhupada is saying, in light of this, how can we argue amongst one another and neglect our responsibility for reclaiming these fallen souls, for going back to home, back to Godhead? So in light of this, all these petty things, we should not become busy in arguing with each other and quarreling or misunderstanding all these things. And then we forget our main mission, that actually we have to preach this Krishna consciousness, reclaim the fallen conditioned souls and make them eligible to go back to Godhead. This is very important thing. So, in another one incident to one Grahastha, Mataji, Srila Prabhupada gave important instruction how to even our material responsibility. Giving that example, Prabhupada gave the example of Krishna conscious principle. Very important thing. What happened was, so one of the devotees, one Mataji, I'll read that anecdote. One morning, Prabhupada arrived in the park. He stepped out of his car and waited for the devotees who had come in another car to join him. So, other vehicles were carrying other devotees, and Prabhupada reached earlier and he came out of his car and he was waiting for other cars to arrive and devotees to get down. So Leelavati had difficulty getting out of the car because she had her baby. She had to take care of the baby, so definitely it's quite difficult to get out of the car. She had her baby Subhadra in a carrier on her back. So she was, in America they have that kind of pouch and all where she is carrying her on the back. When she finally did get out of the car, Prabhupada turned and laughed at her. Ah, burden of affection. Isn't it? See how Prabhupada makes such important things. It's a fact, even though child is a burden, but that burden is different from other burden. It is a burden of affection. We take that burden because we want to make them Krishna conscious. Simply you don't take a burden, you take some burden on your head, isn't it? Burden is burden. But this is a different kind of burden. This burden is taken to make them Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is saying burden of affection. Yes, Swamiji, Leelavati replied. They all began to walk together along the path. And then Prabhupada made another important point. So, there are two ways to carry a baby. Prabhupada said, tapping his cane on the ground in time with his regular strides. There is monkey way, there is a cat way. Do you know that? No, Swamiji, said Leelavati. Well, which way do you think is better? Prabhupada asked her. Monkey way or cat way? She could not understand or imagine what he meant. Prabhupada continued. The monkey baby climbs on the back of the mother and holds on, and this is the way he travels. So monkey climbs on the back of the mother and he holds on to the mother, and that is how he travels. And the kitten is carried in the teeth of the mother. So which is better? Leelavati could still not understand which could be better. They both sounded very difficult to her. Well, Prabhupada said, the monkey baby is very small and very weak, and he is holding on to the mother by his own strength. But the kitten is being supported by the strength of the mother. So which way do you think is better? So Prabhupada is giving so many hints. And then she understood the cat way is better. Yes, Prabhupada said. That is the difference between the yogis and the devotees. The yogi is trying to climb on the back of absolute truth by his own strength. But he is very weak, so he will fall. But a devotee, he cries out for Krishna. And as he spoke the word Krishna, Prabhupada held his arms up high and looked up at the clear morning sky. A devotee cries out for Krishna and Krishna picks him up. See? So, this is the meaning of Krishna consciousness, that actually we are all dependent on the mercy of our spiritual master. We may have so much weakness on our own, but because Krishna is ready to pick us up and the spiritual master is there to guide us, definitely, in spite of our different kinds of weaknesses, it will be possible for us, out of mercy of the Supreme Lord, that we can get out of this material world. So these are some of the interesting instructions which Prabhupada is going to stop with his Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam.